Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how to make this triangle joyfold card. This one opens up, this one opens up. I saw this on Pinterest, made by somebody who goes by the name of La La Land Crafts. Her name is Ceylon. I actually took screenshots of what she did, so I can show you the card that she made. So that was her finished card. Okay, and when you opened this bit up, she had that inside. And then this bit was the triangle bit. I think there's a better photograph. Oh, that was the one, the little one on the inside. There's another photograph there. Not sure how well that is coming through. But it really appealed to me. I thought that's a lovely card. It's a nice fancy fold and it's so easy to make. Now I have followed Celine's instructions, and except I've changed the measurements. She did use metric. I'm using inches, and I will put the measurements in the box below the video. I will do the inches for A4 cardstock users, metric for A4 cardstock users, and inches also for letter size cardstock users. I'm not going to do the same masculine design. The designer series paper that I've used here actually comes with 2 sheets of toppers, that was one of the toppers, the Best Dad Award, and that looks like the only one I did use. These 3 here, I'm going to show you the card. No, I'm going to show you the cardstock first, the card pieces we're going to be needing, then I'll go through where they came from. Okay, so we are going to be using Oasis, Orchid Oasis. This is one of our new colours, and this should measure 5 3/4 inches by 11.5 inches, scored and folded at 5 3/4 inches. Now we need to do a bit of work on that one. And then we need another Orchid Oasis card, which measures 4.5 inches by 9 inches, scored and folded at 4.5 inches. And then we need a piece of Parakeet Party, which measures 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. That's for inside the back of the big card. Then you need another piece of Parakeet Party, which measures 5.5 by 5.5 inches, and we've got to do something to that one. And for the inside of the back of the card, no, this is the one that needs action on it. This is from the 2022-2024 in colour 6x6 designer series colour pack. It's probably better, but I'm not sure it's absolutely essential that you use a non-directional pattern. My brain has trouble getting around this, whether if you use stripes at the front it would be going that way, and I think on the inside it would be going that way. I'm not sure, but rather than waste any design series paper, it's better just to stick to something that's non-directional. And then you also need 3 pieces of Parakeet Party, which measure 4 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and these are for inside the smaller 4.5 by 4.5 card. And then you need designer series paper. Now I have used 5 different designs, which is why I've had to go over to the 2022 6x6 design series paper pack for these 2 designs. But these all need to measure by 4 1/8 inches. Now I haven't actually designed today's card. I've prepared lots of bits and pieces, which I think is the way I'm going to decorate it. But you'll be joining me on that journey of what I'm going to be doing. So there's those 3, and then you also need this is Tea Boutique, and which is what these 2 are. Sorry, this is also a 6x6 pack of designer series paper, and this DSP should measure 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. So these are my 5 designs. I've got 3 from Tea Boutique and 2 from the 2022-2024 6x6 pack. Okay, so all of these are fine. So what we need to work with is this one, and this. So I'm going to bring over my trimmer. Oh, there we go. Two things that I want to say about this card. One is, if you don't want to decorate these bits, you don't need to. But this one in particular, you're going to be cutting half off. So unless you're going to make another 2 cards the same, you might as well use it there. But you could definitely leave that one blank. And I will go back and tell you what stamp sets we're using. I'll just get these pieces done first. So first of all, this is the big card, and what we need to do is we need to slice that triangle off. So I'm going to put this on my trimmer, make sure I'm in shot, and I am going to put that score line on the edge of that cut line in there, so that it actually cuts right by the side of that score line. And I'm going to put this one in the cutting track. There we go. Okay, so that's in the cutting track. And that's that bit here on the left hand side of the score line is in the cutting track. Now I'm going to cut from that end because I don't want to put my blade straight up to a point like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off first and then come back. So that will be saved for another project. So this is how your card is going to be. And then I am using Parakeet Party for my middle layer. That is instead of using white, basic white. I couldn't decide which colour I wanted to use, green or blue, so I decided to use them both. And for this, you put both points straight into the cutting track, right into the centre there. There we go. And I'm going to make sure my blade is going to start in the middle of my cutting. Okay, so that's one piece for the back, one piece for the front. And this is my designer series paper. Now, I didn't measure, didn't say how big that was, did I? Let me just double check that for you, because this bit is important. This is 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. Let me write that down. Now, what I want to do, let's show you this. This is what I was playing with to find out how to get a nice edge on that blue bit. Now you have a choice. Okay, so if I show you like this, now with this one, the 5.5, that leaves you a nice gap. Now I go for the 5 3/8 next, which really does not leave much of a gap at all. I'm going to bring this up close to you so that you can see it. If you don't want to do 5 3/8, you can do 5 1/4. Now I'm going to lay these all on top of each other, and hopefully the light is going to let you see the gap. You may decide that for the top one you might prefer to do the 5 1/4. I'm sticking to the more narrow one, which is the 5 3/8. If I can just get that up there. That's it. Bring that down a bit. I don't know why this never goes the same while I'm videoing as when I'm actually doing it, but hey ho. This is an important part because you may not like getting such a thin line. There we go. You can see the width that you get from the different sizes. Now I'm going for the one that's in the middle, which is 5 3/8, but if you prefer the bigger gap, you need the 5 1/4. Okay, so that's this one. Mine is going to be 5 3/8. So again, corner into corner. So there's two things you have choices about: this layer and also whether you're going to decorate all insides. I get my cutting blade in the middle of the designer series paper. If that was stripy, that one goes there. Yeah, I'm sure your stripes would go funny if you didn't use a directional pattern. I'm quite ready to be corrected on that if I'm wrong. So before I move on, let me tell you all the card pieces I'm going to be using at the stamp sets. First of all, I am using for this card the Cup of Tea stamp set. I'm using this and this. I think that's it. And the dies are these. As you can see, I'm still getting myself prepared with these. And I have die cut that and die cut that in each of the 3 colours. I'm not sure how I'm using them. If I don't use them for this card, I will use them for something else. I am also using this sentiment and this sentiment, but I've changed this round. And these 2 sentiments and the bird actually come from Heron Habitat. It's that happy birthday and enjoy your day. And these do have a set of dies that go with them. Okay, so it's die cuts the big birds there. It's got its own grass and things. So that's a great bundle. To die cut this, and I'm going to show you how I did this one. I've used this die here, and that is from Fabulous Frames. And for the card that I'm working on now, I'm changing that out for a butterfly, and that comes from Butterfly Brilliance. I think it's probably that one that I've used. Now this set comes as one complete stamp, almost like a back, well, you could use it as a background stamp if you wanted, but I only wanted to do that one, and I wanted it to go on my Stamparatus like this. Okay, so that's my butterfly there. Happy birthday, enjoy your day. So what I did was I bought 2 stamp sets, the same. So this one I cut the butterflies apart, so I get the best of both worlds. And I do know somebody who, because there's a die that goes with it and cuts out all the big one die will cut out all of that. I know somebody who bought an extra set of dies and actually separated them so she can die cut those individually. I didn't go that far. As long as I can use my die like that, then I'm very happy. Okay, so I think that's everything that I've used that I need to tell you about. So let's get our bits and pieces adhered together, and then we can decorate. So first of all, these need to be put together. I just wonder if that would look different if you put it one on one. No, that's the same. Actually, I might use that. I'm going to use that. I hadn't planned on, but I will do. Right, Tombo, where are you? Let's get rid of that sticky bit from the top there. I'm afraid there's no news about when we can expect the magnetic plate for the cut and emboss to come in. It's still en route. As you know, I was really excited when I knew that that was coming in. Right, now this is the very narrow one. Okay, it's not much of a gap there, but I didn't want another 1/4 of an inch because there's going to be a 1/4 of an inch on this one here. I think that stands out quite nicely, doesn't it? So let's put this piece on. If you're one of my customers who joined in with my paper share, I'm pleased to say that it is all en route and parcels are with the courier, so it won't be long before it's with you. There we go, that looks nice, I like that. Let's turn this one over, let's do this one. Obviously I didn't want to do this ahead of time. I could use that one there, couldn't I? Do you want to use another one? I won't use the same on that one, let's stick to the same. I don't want to do something and think, I wished I'd stuck to the original plan. I know it works when I stick to the same thing, because that's what happened with the masculine card. I'm not one for using toppers, and I'm a little bit disappointed that we've got 2 sheets of them with the designer series paper. I'd be interested to hear your opinions of them. There are some that I'll be more than happy to use, but I'd rather stamp and die cut my own toppers. I have to say, I do like these colours, the new in colours. I can remember when we had Lemon Lime Twist, which was very much like this, although I think it was probably a bit more fluorescent than this one. And my first reaction to that was, oh my goodness, no. But that slowly grew on me, and I was disappointed by the time it actually retired. So I'm quite pleased to see this one back. There we go. So that's that one. We can now put this one on the inside. And the Tahitian Tide looks as if it's very much like Tempting Turquoise. Unfortunately, I don't have any here to actually compare it. But that was another colour that I liked. Now I think this might have a direction to it. Yeah, I think that's it. I could be wrong. There we go. So that one's done. Now this one I don't know what to do with. I don't know how to arrange all of these. So what I did when I was doing the masculine one, I decided on what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to put this one on the front, okay, so I need one for the front of the card. And that's gone on to quite a patterned one, but then that is plain. And there's that one there. I'm going to put that inside, but I don't know how to do these 3 papers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my card over, and first of all I would really like this design to be very obvious so that you can see what's in it. Okay, which I think that looks nice. But my decorations, let me show you what I've prepared ahead of time. So this is my stamp. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how I stamp that. I've bought lots of scraps over here so that I can do this. And these will be pieces ready for me next time I want to make a card using this. Yes, I need to do it that way for the die. And what I'm doing is I'm looking to make sure that this is lining up with how I've got this. When I put the two sentiments on here, I got them really nice and straight, but it was too close to the edge, which is why I've moved this one along. This is one of the reasons why our Stamparatus blows all other stamp positioners right out of the water. Now I could, because I've got extra plates, I could leave this on here for however long I wanted and just interchange it with my butterfly for female cards and the bird for masculine cards. Now I stamped this with Orchid Oasis. Let me get myself a stamp set underneath here. Just show you how nice and easy it is using a Stamparatus. Isn't that gorgeous? And then I just coloured this using the Fresh Freesia marker pen, Stampin' Right marker rather. Okay, I did try doing a bit of blending on it, but I wasn't happy with the result. This might look alright on camera, but if you could see it close up, it's not that good. What I did wrong here was I actually coloured the body. I should have left that alone. So you could do that and that would look lovely. But I don't suggest you try anything with the body. Just leave that. I'm going to save that because I'll use those two sentiments. So that's okay. I'm not going to colour it now. Although yes, I will do. Just show you how I did that. I'm not going to do the shading on it, but when I did this, first of all I gave it a little while to dry, but then I tried to do it so that I only had one sweep over with my Stampin' Right marker so that it stayed as light as possible. What I found was I kept leaving white areas on the edge, so I had to go back to that, and it gave me a darker outline on the edge, which has worked quite well. Okay, so because I'd left those bits, in fact I think it's probably, you can hardly see the shading on there now. I can see it, I can see exactly where it is, but you may not be able to. But it looks good, I'm happy with that. So put that one over there so that I don't use it by mistake. And that one I will finish off later. And then what I did, oh let's close that. What I did next was I die cut my image. Did I? No, you didn't. I thought you die cut one of them. Yes, that's my die cut one. Okay, so what happens when you use this particular die, this one here, it cuts this out and it cuts this out. Let me put it on here. But what I don't like about it is that doesn't really fit back in there properly. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see dark edges around it? And that's, you can actually see through down to the rubber. So what I did with my masculine one, this one here, I turned that sideways and cut a chunk off between here and here, and then adhered that one on there. But obviously I chose a different colour and that. So what I've done for my card, and this is where my first decision comes in, I've actually prepared these. Okay, one in Parakeet Party and one in Orchid Oasis, and I'm thinking what I would like to do is put that on there and then put that on there, which is one step up from that one. I didn't put the layer on it. Now I don't want to glue that together until I've decided how I'm going to put these layers on. I know you thought I'd lost the plot there, didn't you? Right, so this one I want to go inside. Now if it goes inside, I'm going to cover up a lot of that, so that's not the right one. In fact, if I lay this on here, okay, so you get a really good idea of what this is looking like. So that's another one that I could use. I think this might be favourite, I'm not sure. So that would be in there. I would obviously cut it down a bit. And then that would be there. That I think would look nice. The other alternative, the third choice I have, is for it to go on here. But I think this might be too plain. Yes. So that means that one is going to go up there, that one's going to go there, that one's going to go here. And for the front, what I've done is I've stamped that from the teacup, which means I'm still losing quite a bit there. The only way I'm going to show all of that is by using it for the plain one up there, which means the front of my card would have... Do you go through this kind of agony when you're trying to design? Okay, and that would be on the front of it. Oh, that wouldn't be bad, would it? Oh, that's what I'm going to do. And I'd have two of these designs inside, that one on there. And then that brings in the... That's what I'm going to do. Right, decision made. Okay, so move that one out. So this one's on the front. Tombow. I'll show you exactly what I do with the frame that I'm going to adjust. I very nearly didn't buy the teacup set. Don't ask me why, but I just didn't think it was anything special until I saw other demonstrators putting up cards on Pinterest that they had been making. Yes, that's good, I like that. That's going to go up on dimensionals on the front there. So I get my teapots up the top. I would have liked a teapot. In fact, I think that's what it is. I wanted a teapot with my teacups. I just feel the two really go together. But I'm happy now that I've got this sorted out. Another part of the design that I thought about, which I haven't shown you, I did have an idea that I was going to use these. I die cut each of the two cups, and I had some kind of an idea of doing like 3 cups on top of each other like that. But obviously now that I've sorted out my designs, I'm not going to do that. So they are ready for a new design, new card. There we go. It's very unlikely to put two colours together. Now I don't think this card, the finished card is going to be 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 or 5.5 by 5.5 if your letter size uses. But I don't think it would work for a regular C6 or A2 card, because you really need it to be square so that you can fit a card on like this. Oops, got glue on my finger. Okay. I wouldn't know where to start to actually... Yes, I would. Well, I suppose it wouldn't be that difficult, would it? Mind you, cutting the triangles wouldn't be so easy because they're not straight. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this in place first. Now I'm going to put Tombow on the back, and what I've got to pay attention to, let's move that, is this here will only go as far as this will allow it. Okay, so what I mean is you can put it up there, anywhere where the edge is down there. So I think the gap that you get all round is probably the same. I haven't double checked it, but it looks the same. Just got to make sure that your gaps are equal all round. Now I'm going to put my Tombow on here, and of course Tombow will give you that bit of wiggle room to get it in place. I'm going to hold that up there. It's going to be fitting in there somewhere. I'm going to close it and then close this. Make sure that comes around straight. Okay, that looks straight. Don't you think that's a lovely design? And I'm glad I used that as well. That really goes well with that one. So first of all, let me make this one first. So I'm going to put these two together. I wonder if I wrote these measurements down. 3 2/8 and 3 1/8 by 2.5. Okay. So the first size of 3 by 2 3/8 is the actual die cut size that comes out of the frame there. Then that is the piece I've cut to size. And I'm going to make this overlap down this side a very tiny edge. Okay, really tiny edge there, but it will be hanging on by the edges there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a little bit off of here. I'm not going to go too far. And then I'm going to do one of these at a time. First of all, across the top. Don't you just love it when you can do more than what the original plan was for your dies? I think this is a beautiful die, and when I saw that the fitting that square bit back in, really didn't like it. Then I tried to think of something else to come up with, and this was it. Now when you put this on, make sure that you've got the same amount coming over the top here as you have the bottom from these straight bars. Okay, and I've got about the same amount of curved bit on both sides, that bit there. Okay, now I'm going to do the same for the other side. So I'm going to turn it around, I find it easier working that way. Let's just check, see if I should really take some extra off there. Oh no, that's okay. I wouldn't want them to overlap. You know, don't take your glue right up to the top like I've just done. I'm just going sideways onto this bit. I'm not worried about the glue going onto my silicone craft mat because that's very easy to remove. I'd much rather sticky go on that than my work surface. There we go. Now again, if you make sure you've got the same sort of bump as you've got those two sides and the same gap up here. There we go, more or less perfect. It's certainly close enough. Let's pull this one out very slightly. Make the bump slightly bigger. And I can see that I've got a lot of Tombow coming through there. I think this image needs something in the background. On this one what I did was I got my star punch and I just put those on it, so I might decide to do that. Because it's inside the card, I don't want to put anything that's got height to it. Okay, so that's going to be going in there. I think that looks nice, doesn't it? So I'm going to glue all of that now. In fact, I think I might only glue the blue bit because there is a slight height difference. Do you think that make any difference? I'll put a little bit in the middle rather than doing it all around the edges. This would look lovely if it was on the front of a card, so that you could decorate it with gems and things. Yes, that looks straight, I think. Yes, I'm very happy with that. That's going to stay as it is. I might put a cup on it actually. Oh, no, I don't want a see-through one. I don't want a plain one. I have blue, green, or I think I might use that. Anyway, let's go to the front of the card and we're going to pop this on, and this is going on dimensionals. I'm going to try and use these bits up. I prefer to use my non-stick scissors. I don't find these as brilliant as my last ones, but they do help a lot. Okay, there's that one. You can go on the edge. You could go down the centre and that could be it, couldn't it? Think we need any more? Okay, just a little something. Little ones will do. That's it. That will save anything from capsizing. I want to talk to you about that as well, how I did the stamping. In fact, I'll stamp another one to show you. Right in the centre and straight. I've got a trimmer bump there. It's a lot easier if you flatten trimmer bumps before you put it up on dimensionals. It's not impossible, just not quite as easy. Okay, so let me get another piece and I'll do one of these. This is two-step stamping and it's so easy. Well, I don't think they actually call this two-step stamping. I'm not sure what their criteria is. I think it might be one's got to go on top of the other. Oh, they do call it two-step. Okay, so make sure that's big enough. Yep. First of all, the cup. I know that I brought them all over. I haven't washed them since I used them before, but never mind. It's a minor detail which we don't worry about, do we? Let's get rid of that. So first of all, I'm going to do exactly the same colours. So first of all, the cup. This looks as if it's been through a... don't like that. It looks as if it's been through the trimmer. I do try and avoid that when I'm putting anything through. If there's a large excess of cardstock, I generally cut it off. And when you're using photopolymer stamps, if you get ink in between the bits that's not going to be stamping, don't press too hard, otherwise you'll find the lines will come on there as well, because obviously it's not a very thick stamp. So there's that, and I want these, which I'm going to do in Parakeet Party. Now this is very easy to line up. I'm going to bring this down as low as I can. In fact, I don't really need that there now, do I? So, okay. I don't really want to get my head under the camera. So you can see the ends of all of those green stems there. You just line them up so they meet up or go over very slightly the blue. Because this is such a light colour, going onto that, it will hardly be noticeable. Just trying to see how far forward I can go. There we go, that should be everything. There we go. Very nice and easy. On one that I was experimenting with, I actually coloured those leaves in, and I used the pen end of the Parakeet Party stamping right marker, and that did look nice. Now the next stamp is the one that does these little flowers. Now because it is so thin, so narrow, it doesn't necessarily go onto your block correctly. So what I did was I took my stamp and I laid it face down, that is the way it would actually be stamping, like that. And I made sure that those flowers there, the four, matched up so that it would look sensible. because there aren't actual stems there. You see they just sit on top of flowers. But that end one, the one down here, was floating in the air. So what I did was, as my stamp was sitting down here, I just lifted it up and dragged it round so that it sat onto that one. I'm hoping it hasn't moved. Let me just double check this. Oh, that's all right. Okay, let's bring that down further. So this I'm going to do in Fresh Freesia. I'll be sad to see this colour go. I really have enjoyed using it. Okay, so I'm going to line those two up first, and then I'm going to line that one up. So those can go on that one can go there, and the two big ones should just fall in place. Okay, so none of them look as if they are actually floating. I do think they should have been done straight bottom there though. Talk about a cup that's going to be wobbling. Right, so I think that is it, but I need to decorate my card. Oh, this looks incomplete because it doesn't have a sentiment on the front, but that's alright, I can live with that. Two of the different embellishments that we've received available in the new book are these, which are, I'll take the bag off, beautiful little flowers. Okay, so I could use that or that on there, and what I thought was I would decorate this with some of these flowers because it's on the top. I can do that. And these also are like well, they're flowers and they're really quite heavy, really solid, very good solid embellishments there. But I don't think I want to put gold because there's nothing else that's gold here. So let me put some little ones of these on here. I could use blue actually, couldn't I? I wonder what colour that is. Or green. I quite like green, I think. I have a thing about green flowers. I think they're absolutely beautiful. You know, we get loads of flowers in all sorts of colours, but very rarely get green ones. I say rarely, we've got 2 or 3 of them in our garden. I have another big one. Another little one. There we go. That looks good. I like that. Okay, so that is today's card. As I said, it's a lovely, easy card. And, oh, I was thinking about that, wasn't I? No, I'm going to leave that. If I change my mind, you'll see it on the photograph and on my blog on the day that the video goes live. Okay, so I hope you like this as much as I do. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So many thanks to La La Land Crafts, Celine. I think your card was beautiful and had great pleasure in copying it. As far as writing a sentiment is concerned, something could be written in there quite easily. I think that's probably what I would do. I wouldn't want to put a white thing on there. Alternatively, you could put a white thing on the back. Okay, so there we go. One masculine and one feminine card for you today. Many thanks for joining me today. as I say, all the measurements for A4 inches and metric and inches for less size cardstock will be in the box below the video. I will also put a list of all the ingredients, a list of the cut lines, score lines, etc. If you want to take, I don't do PDFs of the instructions, but what you can do is you can do a copy and paste. You can do it from below the video, but you will find that when you paste it, it'll be just one long section and you have to separate all the bits out. Or you can go to my blog. Underneath my signature, I will put all the measurements and the products that I've used, and if you copy and paste those measurements, it will be true when you go across to do the paste of it. It's much easier. I've always prided myself that I've never forced anybody to go over to my blog to get information, which is why I put it all below, but I have found from my own experience it's a lot easier copying and pasting from my blog. Okay. If you've enjoyed my video and would like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please click on the subscribe button down there in the bottom right hand corner, or on my picture up here somewhere. And don't forget to click the bell so that you get notified each time I do upload a new video. Many thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next week. In the meantime, please take care, stay safe, and of course, happy crafting. Cheerio.